Intro: a fast, shocking montage. A stingray exploding from murky shallows. A great white breaching inches from a swimmer. An elephant charging a jeep. A kayak capsizing beside a massive orca. A tiger lunging through tall grass. Cut rapidly between close-ups of terrified faces, frantic rescues, and slow-motion moments that make your chest tighten. These flashes are only a taste of what's coming. These are the 10 craziest animal encounters you won't believe survived. Stay tuned for the number 1 that will blow your mind. Countdown. Building from wild to absolutely insane. We're timing this fast, about 70 seconds per item. Quick, high-energy transitions for 12 intense minutes of pure survival adrenaline. Buckle up. This isn't just gore or shock. It's about split-second decisions, the science behind animal reactions, and the human instinct that turns near tragedies into miracles. I'm PV. I'll guide you through each scene, how people survived, and what you can learn to stay alive. Chapter 1. I remember the first clip like it was a punch to the gut. Sun-splashed sand, families ankle-deep in water, a kid laughing as waves lapped around them. The day was calm. Tourists had no idea a flat, camouflaged danger rested under the surface. Suddenly, someone screams. The stingray pierced flesh with its barb in the shallow shoal. Panic rippled through the water. The victim staggered ashore, clutching his ankle as blood fanned the sand. People scrambled and dialed for help. A lifeguard rushed with a first aid kit and yelled instructions. Splashing seawater was a mistake. Elevating the limb and removing sand helped stop contamination. Emergency responders explained venom management and how heat can denature stingray toxin. Immediate pressure, immobilization, and fast transport for cleaning and tetanus. Fast transport to a hospital for wound cleaning and tetanus management. Shallow flats are stingray territory. Rays bury themselves, hoping prey will pass overhead. The victim stepped on the ray, a classic trigger for defensive strikes. Reflexes, not predatory attacks. The barb can deliver a serrated puncture. Venom causes excruciating pain and sometimes systemic symptoms if untreated. Neighbors pressed the wound, kept the patient calm, and avoided frantic movement that would spread venom. When the ambulance arrived, they administered pain control and antibiotics to prevent infection from sand-borne bacteria. The patient's recovery was slow but steady. Months later, a faint white line, an ugly souvenir, but proof timely action mattered. Watching the footage, I felt horror and respect. Shock tested him, but he didn't thrash, which probably saved him more injury. Experts. Do not attempt to remove a deeply embedded barb. Do not pour fresh water into a deep wound. It can worsen swelling. Instead, soak in hot water to reduce venom effects. Keep pressure on bleeding while immobilizing the limb. Seek urgent care. The ray's strike was instantaneous, reflexive, but human response decided survival. Watch environmental cues. Shallow, warm waters. Shuffle your feet so you don't step on them. The survivor hadn't known that tip. After recovery, he became an evangelist for it. Stingray strikes are defensive, not predatory. Immediate pressure and immobilization. Heat soak helps. Get to a hospital. As the camera lingers on the healing wound and a cautious shoreline walk, remember, quick, correct steps turn chaos into survival. Chapter 2. It's the kind of footage that makes your palms sweat before you hear the hiss. A narrow trail, a confident hiker, a slender brown coil beneath leaves. Then, an almighty crack as a viper strikes with blinding speed. The fang sinks into a calf. The man doubles over. Friends revert to action, and friends panic. This was no slow poisoning. Venom can immobilize and clot destructively within minutes. One friend kept the leg below heart level. Another called emergency services. A third applied a loose bandage to limit lymphatic flow. Watch the strike mechanics. The mouth springs open. Fangs deploy. The venom pump compresses. Textbook response. Then common myths. Tourniquets and cutting the bite do more harm than good. Trained rescuers arrived with anti-venom and administered it on site, preventing severe systemic effects. At hospital, teams balanced doses against allergic reactions, prepping epinephrine while calculating serum volume. Vitals were monitored as toxicity reversed. slowly restoring color to his extremities. After 48 hours, he stabilized. By week 2, swelling receded, leaving puncture scars. He described tunnel vision focus on breathing and trust in his friends. Species-specific venoms differ. Some target circulation, others the nervous system. Here, hemorrhagic effects made rapid anti-venom essential. Be prepared. No local species. Carry away to call for help. Protocols beat heroics. Small gestures were heroic. The filmer refused to crowd. The driver cut a faster route. His survival hinged on teammate composure, proximity to care, and correctly administered anti-venom. The jungle that almost killed him goes quiet. A reminder that danger is invisible until it strikes, and survival often depends on those around you. Chapter 3. Bees usually mean summer and sweetness, but this episode starts with total pandemonium. A hiker trips near a hidden hive. Suddenly, a furious cloud of bees erupts like a living storm. The swarm engulfs the trail. People sprint. People slap at faces. One woman falls into a ditch. Her face becomes a target. Dozens of stingers puncture skin. Then the footage pivots. She becomes still, breathing shallowly. The swarm covers her but avoids the airway. Theory 1. Disoriented swarms cluster on warm surfaces. Theory 2. Pheromone confusion. Here they clung to clothing and hair, buying time. Bystanders used smoke to calm the hive. A rescuer covered her and rushed to a medical center. Medical follow-up. Antihistamines, steroids, and observation for anaphylaxis. She never developed full-blown allergic shock. Experts. Multiple stings can be toxic even without allergy. Rapid evaluation matters. Rescuers cooled her and removed stingers quickly. She later described a strange meditative calm during the swarm. Tip: avoid sudden movements. Tip: cover your face. Tip: move slowly to enclosed shelter if possible. Gratitude to the rescuer who stayed close, firefighters who used smoke, and medical staff who watched for delayed reactions. Months later, she returned to trails and now teaches others how to respond to hives. Don't swat, cover, move. Seek medical attention even if you feel fine. The mix of scientific insight and human bravery sets the tone for the escalating danger ahead. Chapter 4. Imagine trekking deep in volcanic mist, the forest heavy with breath and life. A hulking silhouette steps into the path. A mountain gorilla, chest heaving, eyes locking on a human. Slow motion tension of a standoff. The gorilla bangs its chest in warning. Here's the shock. No panic, no sudden moves. They make themselves small, avoid eye contact, and speak softly. The chest thumps once, twice, then it circles and wanders away. Less than a minute, an eternity on camera. Gorillas are intelligent and assess intent. Primates respond to dominance cues. Respectful, non-threatening posture signals no challenge.
The footage includes a guide whispering, "Stay down, stay down," a mantra of survival in primate encounters.
Guides read micro-expressions and redirect fear. No flash, no sudden movements, and minimal speech allowed the gorilla the dignity to disengage. The camera captures tight faces and audible silence as nature makes its decision. Relief and awe. A creature that could have maimed or killed chose peace. This is why the sequence hits in our countdown. Knowledge and cultural respect matter when entering wild spaces. Small decisions, keeping calm, following a guide, were the real heroes. The gorilla's retreat feels almost noble, a reminder that sometimes survival comes from humility, not force. Chapter 5. The jeep bounced along a dusty savanna track, and the tourists were laughing when distant trumpeting sliced the air. An elephant was moving fast, and it had spotted the vehicle. The animal turned, then an unmistakable charge. Ears flared, trunk swinging like a battering ram. The driver, an experienced guide, reacted instantly, downshifting and angling toward a narrow corridor between acacias. The elephant closed distance in thunderous strides. The jeep lurched as the beast rammed. Windows rattled. A tree scraped metal. We'll play at full speed, then slow the instant the forehead connects and the vehicle spins. Training saved lives. He used soft, non-threatening motions and avoided the horn. Instead, he aimed for cover that could bleed off momentum without trapping the Jeep. Rescue was immediate. Guides formed a human barrier, using noise and lights to distract the elephant. They extracted the shaken tourists once danger receded. Experts explain, elephants often charge defensively, especially near calves or perceived threats. A distant calf can spike aggression. The footage is terrifying. Raw power, bending metal, raw human fear. Yet everyone survived with minor injuries, thanks to driver skill, quick-thinking guides, and a bit of luck. Post-incident, the driver reveals a split-second choice, not to outrun the elephant, but to maneuver into terrain that favored escape. A wildlife ranger demonstrates safe distances, why slow backing and non-confrontational movement reduce risk, and how to position vehicles. The chapter turns dramatic footage into a safari safety playbook. The dented Jeep at sunset will stay with you long after the cut. Emotionally, survivors speak of fear, trust, and the guide's calm, a narrow escape etched in metal and memory.